My name is Eleanor Patterson, and at 68 years old, I thought I'd seen the full spectrum of life's cruelties. 3 years ago, I buried my husband, Robert, after watching him waste away from cancer. A battle that drained not just our savings, but the very essence of who we were as a couple. Robert had been my rock, steady and unassuming, the kind of man who fixed leaky faucets and remembered anniversaries with a simple bouquet from the grocery store. We weren't wealthy, but we were content, or so I told myself. The truth was, our life was one of quiet routines. My teaching high school English for 37 years, his work as an accountant, and our son, Brandon, who grew up in a modest Denver suburb where the biggest excitement was the annual 4th of July parade. I never imagined that the worst pain would come not from losing Robert, but from the slow erosion of my relationship with Brandon. It started subtly after the funeral. Fewer calls, shorter visits, excuses about his demanding job as a lawyer. Then came Vivian, his fiancée, a socialite from one of Denver's old money families, the Ashworths. She was beautiful, polished, and utterly convinced that anyone without a trust fund was beneath notice. When Brandon proposed to her, I was thrilled at first. A wedding, a new chapter. But the invitations arrived, and mine felt like an afterthought, tucked into a plain envelope without even a personal note. The wedding was set for a sunny Saturday in June at the Ashworth Estate, a sprawling property on the outskirts of Denver that looked like it had been lifted from the pages of Architectural Digest. Marble fountains gurgled in manicured gardens, and the guest list read like a who's who of Colorado's elite. Politicians, business magnates, and socialites whose wardrobes cost more than my annual pension. I smoothed my navy blue dress, the nicest one I owned, bought on sale at Macy's 5 years ago, and reminded myself that I belonged. This was my son's wedding. I had raised him, sacrificed for him, loved him through scraped knees and teenage rebellions. Surely that counted for something. But as I arrived, the wedding coordinator, a brisk woman in a headset named Clarissa, glanced at her clipboard with a pitying smile. "Mrs. Patterson? Row 12, seat 15? The very back, behind the photographers, the florists, and what seemed like the catering staff taking a break. I could barely see the altar from there, a distant blur of white roses and silk ribbons. Vivian's mother, Catherine Ashworth, sat in the front row, surrounded by her society friends, all in designer hats and pearls, stealing glances at me like I was an exhibit in a zoo. As I made my way down the aisle, conversations hushed, not the respectful silence for the mother of the groom, but the awkward quiet of witnessing a faux pas. A woman in a Chanel suit whispered to her companion, loud enough for me to hear, "That's Brandon's mother. Vivian said she used to clean houses." I didn't clean houses. I taught Shakespeare and grammar to generations of teenagers, shaping minds and futures. But facts didn't matter in their narrative. I was the poor relation, the embarrassing remnant of Brandon's humble origins. The back row was sparse. A few late arrivals, a bored photographer scrolling his phone, and me. I settled into my seat, clutching my purse like a shield, and watched Brandon at the altar. He looked every inch the successful lawyer in his tailored tuxedo, his dark hair slicked back, his posture confident. For a fleeting moment, I saw the little boy who'd bring me dandelions from the yard, declaring me the prettiest mommy in the world. That boy had vanished, replaced by a man ashamed of his roots. The ceremony began with orchestral flourishes worthy of a royal wedding. Vivian floated down the aisle in a gown that must have cost $50,000. Imported silk, Swarovski crystals, a train that required 2 attendants. She was stunning, in that icy, flawless way that money perfected. As she passed my row, her eyes skimmed over me without a flicker of recognition. Brandon's gaze was fixed on her, filled with adoration I'd never seen directed at me. "Dearly beloved," the minister intoned, and I tried to focus on gratitude. At least they'd invited me. That morning, Vivian had cornered me in the bridal suite, her manicured nails tapping the seating chart.
"Your poverty will embarrass us," she'd sneered, while Brandon nodded, avoiding my eyes. Consistent in their cruelty, at least. That's when someone sat beside me. I turned to see a distinguished man in a charcoal suit, silver hair catching the light, blue eyes sharp and knowing. His watch was Rolex, his shoes Italian leather. Everything about him screamed old money. "Act like you're with me," he whispered urgently, placing his hand over mine with a warm smile, as if we were old lovers sharing a secret. The change was instantaneous. Whispers shifted. "Who is that with Brandon's mother? He looks important." Suddenly, I wasn't the pitiful widow. I was part of a sophisticated pair. During the vows, he leaned in. "Your son will look this way. Smile like I said something fascinating." Sure enough, Brandon's eyes swept the crowd and landed on us. His face paled. Vivian noticed, her composure cracking for a split second. "Perfect," my companion murmured. "He looks like he's seen a ghost." "Who are you?" I whispered. "Someone who should have been in your life long ago. We'll talk after." For the first time in years, I felt empowered. The ceremony ended and he offered his arm. "Shall we proceed to the reception, my dear Eleanor?" He knew my name. As we walked, eyes followed us, the same people who dismissed me now regarding me with respect. "You never told me your name," I said. "Theodore Blackwood, but you used to call me Theo." The world spun. Theo, my Theo from 50 years ago. Chapter 2, Echoes of a Lost Love. 50 years. It felt like yesterday and a lifetime ago. I was 18, fresh out of high school, working as a waitress at a diner in downtown Denver to save for college. Theo was 20, the son of a prosperous businessman, studying at the university. We met when he came in for coffee one rainy afternoon, his umbrella dripping on the linoleum floor. "You look like you could use a smile," he'd said, his blue eyes twinkling. I laughed, and that was it. Love at first sight, or close enough.
Our romance was a whirlwind. Stolen kisses in the park, late-night drives to the mountains, dreams whispered under starry skies. Theo's family had money, but he never flaunted it. He saw me, the girl from the wrong side of the tracks, daughter of a factory worker and a controlling mother who dreamed of better for her only child. Margaret Wilson disapproved from the start. "He's too ambitious, Eleanor. He'll leave you for bigger things." But Theo promised forever. "After my business program in London, we'll get married, move to California, start fresh." He left for London with tears and promises. Letters arrived at first, passionate declarations, plans for our future. Then they stopped. Calls went unanswered. I waited, heartbroken, convinced he'd found someone else. Months later, I met Robert at a church social. He was kind, stable, everything Theo wasn't in my mother's eyes. We married quickly, and Brandon came along. Life moved on. But now, in the Ashworth garden, Theo stood before me, unchanged in essence. "I never married," he said. "I never stopped looking for you." The floodgates opened. Letters intercepted by my mother, calls blocked, his returns to Denver fruitless. I hired investigators. By 1978, you were married, pregnant. I stayed away. The puzzle completed itself. My mother's interference, her support when I dated Robert. Betrayal burned fresh. "Why now?" I asked. "Your husband's obituary 3 years ago? Then the wedding announcement? I came to see you, not interfere. But when I saw how they treated you..." Brandon's voice interrupted. "Mother, we need to talk. Now." Chapter 3, The Confrontation. Brandon and Vivian approached like storm clouds, faces twisted in panic. "Who is this man?" Vivian demanded. "Theodore Blackwood," he said smoothly. "Eleanor and I have quite a history." The word history landed like a bomb. Explanations followed. Our young love, the separation, his regret. Brandon's lawyer instincts kicked in. "How serious?" "Serious enough that I've spent 50 years regretting it," Theo replied.
Vivian rallied. This is a family celebration. Perhaps it's more appropriate if I left, Theo's tone sharpened. So you can continue treating Eleanor like an inconvenience? I've watched you ignore her, seat her in the back like an afterthought. She's the finest woman I know, and this is how you honor her? Brandon shifted. We assumed she had an escort. You assumed wrong, I said, but you haven't asked me anything lately. Vivian's mistake. We'll just see about that. We have security. Theo's laugh was cold. He called his driver, James, for a portfolio. Architectural drawings emerged. The Blackwood Tower, built on the site of Ashworth Properties office. The sale is complete. 90 days to relocate. Vivian paled. Brandon, what do you want? Nothing from you. You've given me the gift of seeing Eleanor's need for someone who appreciates her. Theo turned to me. Shall we leave? We have 50 years to catch up on. I took his arm. Yes. As we walked away, Vivian's panicked whisper followed. Do you know who Theodore Blackwood is?
Chapter 4. Dinner and Revelations. The restaurant Theo chose was Les Ciel, a rooftop venue with views of the twinkling Denver skyline. Soft jazz played, waiters glided like shadows. Are you hungry? We missed the wedding dinner. I laughed. I couldn't have eaten those canapes anyway. He remembered my order from 50 years ago, stuffed mushrooms, from Romano's when we celebrated your acceptance to teaching school. Memories surged, our special Italian spot, young love's intensity. You remember? I remember everything about you. I poured out my life, teaching career, the students who'd written letters years later thanking me for inspiring them. One, a boy named Miguel, had become a poet. Another, Sarah, a senator. Robert's steady love, Brandon's childhood, soccer games, science fairs, the pride of his law school graduation. Then the loneliness after Robert's death, Brandon's distance, Vivian's disdain. Theo's jaw tightened. That boy doesn't deserve you. What about you? No marriage, no children? Relationships, but none stuck. I measured them against you. My phone buzzed, texts from Brandon. Who is Theodore Blackwood? He's worth $500 million. What is your relationship? Theo smiled. Interesting how their interest developed. Vivian called. Would you and Mr. Blackwood join us for dinner tomorrow? I savored it. I'll check with Theodore. Chapter 5. The Negotiation Dinner. The next night, at another exclusive spot, Brandon and Vivian waited like negotiators. Vivian complimented my dress, hypocrisy at its finest. Theo was treated like royalty. Dialogue flowed, our history revealed, apologies demanded. Theo, the kind that involves treating Eleanor with respect, starting with an apology. Brandon apologized genuinely, Vivian stiffly. The building purchase loomed. Theo, I could be convinced to consider a lease if circumstances were right. Terms. Implied. Respect for me or consequences. Chapter 6. Independence Dawns. In Theo's penthouse, coffee in hand, views of the mountains. I don't have a Tuscany house yet, but I can buy one. Brandon's call. Panic over travel plans. Mom, be reasonable. I'm 68, not 8. I don't need permission. Catherine Ashworth visited, offering $50,000 bribe. I tore the check. My relationship isn't for sale. Theo's proposal. Lease with clauses for apologies, community service. Chapter 7. The Ultimatum. Brandon's call. This is extortion. Consequences. Choose sides. 72 hours ticked. Chapter 8. The Apology. Richard Ashworth accepted terms. At the charity luncheon, Vivian's public apology. I was wrong. Eleanor deserves respect. I accepted coolly, noted and appreciated. Freedom washed over me. Chapter 9. New Horizons. Brandon wanted to talk, but I was ready, on my terms. Theo and I planned Tuscany. Life began anew.